Now, taking the city of Coburn by storm tonight is the Side Splitter Comedy Festival. Kicking off with an assortment of talented performers, there'll be plenty of side-splitting laughs for comedy lovers all around. Joining us this morning is comedy hypnotist Matt Hale, one of many performers taken to the stage over the next fortnight, and Side Splitter Festival Director Julian Lee. Good morning, guys. How are we doing?
Very well.
Very good.
Saturday morning.
Very good. Good to be here, actually.
Were you guys actually were you up early enough to see the sunrise this morning? Because it was gorgeous. Just a side note.
Yeah, sure. Yep.
It's all about
Come up
that.
over the horizon.
You know how it just like rises and stuff, and it's just so good.
Glowy
And like,
impressive.
yeah, it's just like the sun is involved in the sunrise somehow. Yeah, that whole thing. All right, kick us off, guys. What makes West Australian comedy so special?
Oh, well, you know, the amazing thing is, and with our border closure that's going on at the moment, putting a comedy festival on maybe didn't seem like a great idea, but it turns out actually it was a fantastic idea because this state has way more to offer than anyone realised, because we've been able to program an entire festival with some amazing acts like Matt Hale here and people like Janelle Koenig and Peter Rosethorn, and just unbelievable WA acts that are also here stuck in WA because they can't go anywhere else. And it's just been a great showcase of what this state really has to offer.
I love that. It is one of the things about COVID, isn't it? It's sort of like really made us embrace what we've got in our own state.
Well, we've been so lucky. I normally travel not just Australia, but actually the world doing what I do. And so as much as like I would love to spend as much time as possible here in Perth, I'm just such a advocate for where I live, and yet normally I spend so much time out of it. And so to have this time to be here, and then because of being here, it's not only the normal opportunities that would spring up, but there's been so many other opportunities, because also it's the same way as where other like events and things may be using people from other states, you know, to mix things up. Obviously, you know, they have to look within the state and are discovering, hey, we've got so much talent here at the moment. So I think it's put a lot of people on the radar just for people in WA in general, which has been fantastic.
Yeah, it's been amazing. Like we wouldn't. This is one of the. We've had so many sold out shows this year, partly due to the limitations on capacity for the venues. But it's been fantastic because it's been really encouraging for those acts that are WA based, even those that are up and coming, not just the unbelievable headliners like Matt here, but who you've had your travel cut short and you've come and settled for Coburn. But no, I'm joking. It's been awesome to have that kind of mixture of those acts and everyone get the opportunity to be introduced to maybe Perth audiences that don't even realise that these fantastic acts are WA based.
What do you think comedy can do for us in a year like this?
Oh, comedy has the ability just to take you somewhere completely different. Like, on the other side of what I do, I put a book out called Mind Hacking Happiness. I do a presentation for conferences and keynote speech called Mind Hacking Happiness. And so I kind of look at that other side and that mental health thing. We're in the middle of Mental Health Week at the moment, or just come to the end of it. And that side of comedy is often not discussed, but it's just like the absolute pure byproduct of it. You know, if you can take yourself to a place where you can smile, laugh, just be transported to just a completely different feeling for an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is, it's just it can be life-changing sometimes.
And I'd say as well, so last night we had the opening night, and I have never had, and we've been doing festivals around the place for years and years, but I've never had the amount of people that came up to me and just saw that I had a lanyard on and just to say, I didn't realise how much I missed this. I didn't realise how much I needed this. It was just so lovely that people just to approach you and say, thank you. I forgot how much fun and how lovely this is for me.
I was actually talking to an entertainer friend of mine over East recently in Melbourne, and he was really concerned that when restrictions lift there, that no one would come out for stuff. You know, they'd be very hesitant. I was like, oh, hold tight, just get ready, because it has been the complete opposite. You know, when we were able to put our first show on, literally after 5 months of not doing a show, I stepped off the stage at the Adelaide Fringe Festival one night, and then that was it for 5 months till we could get on a stage again. And that show we put on a couple of months ago was done within a week's notice, and we sold it out within a week's notice. And I was like, okay, it is game on. Things are happening again. Yeah.
Yeah, people are just excited to get out there.
Yeah, it's great.
Question for you, Matt. What led to you fusing comedy and hypnotism together?
I was always fascinated with the mind, and I've always been in some form of entertainment. I kind of started out life as a DJ, kind of travelling around, doing clubs and things like that. But that fascination with the mind, and also a really strong interest in comedy. I'm from just north of London originally, and ever since I was old enough to go to the Comedy Store in the UK and various other comedy clubs, I would be in there every weekend just checking out comedy. And so I had this love of these two things. And then as I started coming through early 20s, I started to look into hypnosis. I actually took part in a show, loved the process so much and the experience. I just didn't like the explanation. It was very old and cliched of like, this is a power I was born with and that kind of rubbish. But at that point, I knew enough about the basic psychology of it and things like that. So I started delving into that. And it wasn't realistically though until years later that I actually put a show together and started rolling it out though. But since I did that, I've just never looked back. It's just been the best step I ever made, I think.
Do you get many skeptics when it comes to live hypnotism? What's the general what's the sort of, I guess, breakdown of the audience? How many people are just like, this is going to work? And then people are like, oh, no, I'm going to sit here with my arms folded. I don't believe it.
You sound like a skeptic, Jess. Is that what you're saying?
Look, actually, it's really interesting. Obviously, I can never tell how many people like that. Obviously, I definitely know there's a few people, and some people will come up to me before their show if they see me and like, hey, I'm a bit sceptical. But I just say that's fine. It doesn't matter if you're sceptical. Like being sceptical, it probably means you probably have not had the right explanation about it. If you listen to someone and they did say, old cliche style, yes, look here, this is a power I was born with, you're under my control. Yeah, that's just a load of rubbish, right? But if you take on the explanation that this is something we all do, it's a state of mind we all use, it's basically focusing on a thought so much that it starts to feel real. You can have a dream in which you are falling, right? And you can actually kind of jump in your sleep, wake yourself up. That's not happening in real life. It's your brain making it feel real. So we have that ability to do it. I transfer for that kind of state of mind to the stage, and it seems it a much more, I see. But I always say to people, look, being skeptical doesn't stop it happening. It's like not knowing how a plane flies doesn't stop it flying. So, I always welcome people to come up. The only thing it kind of realistically stops it working is the fact that if you sit there and go, I'm not going to take part in the process. So if I say, just imagine this, I'll go, no, I'm not going to imagine that. Well,
I feel like at that point, like, are you really going out for a good night? Are you going out for a good time if you're just sitting there, like, resisting everything? No, I'm not going to have a good time.
But to be quite honest, I think from the explanation I give at the start of the show, I very rarely get anyone who would come up to the stage after that and do that because they just make themselves look silly. I say, look, if you come up and resist, like nothing's going to happen, right? You'll just be wasting a chair someone else may have wanted.
I love that combination though. So like comedy and hypnotism, because it's sort of like, I guess you sort of end up leaving feeling just like happier and a bit better about life.
Yeah, well, I mean, this show's called Feel Good Factory, and over the last few years, like my whole drive at the end of the show is not just to have everyone laughing, but I want anyone, whether in the audience or on stage, just to feel fantastic. Because if you're very good at taking on board suggestions, why wouldn't I want to give you one that makes you feel amazing at the end of it? Because you're going to tell everyone as well, right? So yeah,
and that's why he's headlining. Listen to him.
Julian, what is the best thing about the Side Splitter Festival? What do you love about it the most?
The thing I love about the Side Splitter the festival the most is that it is in one of the most unusual places that you would ever find a comedy festival. If anyone has been, City of Coburn's not necessarily a place you would think to go out for a night of culture and entertainment, but nestled right in the middle of an industrial complex. I believe across the road there's an ammo store, there's a thrift shop and a service station. On the other side there's a mechanic and a pallet recycling centre. So, it's such an unusual place. But the amazing thing is there's actually a big community of people that live there. And that last night we had a table of 20 people that were just all neighbours that lived 2 blocks away that come every year. So it's one of these really unique festivals that you just get this amazing crowd that you never would find at any other cultural kind of hotspot in the CBD.
I love that. Yeah, it sort of grows like a community around it, and then people start travelling in as well.
Yeah,
and
we get people from all over the place, but mostly we also get these fantastic kind of local groups that come every year.
What can people expect if they pop along?
Look, they can. There's amazing acts like Matt. We have. If you're not sure what to come to, basically my best suggestion is we run a gala every night, and the gala is we have a different headliner MC, to have a different headliner on at the end of the show, and then we have about 7 to 8 different acts that all do about 5 to 10 minutes each. It's a really great way. If you don't know particularly what you enjoy with comedy, you can see a sample, like a tapas plate of.
Oh my God! Straight away, I'm like, ooh, a tapas plate of comedy.
It's just, and sometimes, maybe you don't like this little bit, but you love this bit, and your friend might like the other bit, and so it's a really great way to come and just enjoy yourself, spend some time with a friend, and do it safely, because we are keeping things very limited and trying to manage that as well.
The Perth comedy scene is so strong as well. It is such a good lineup of acts we have in Perth itself, and I think sometimes people are surprised by that if it's their first foray into comedy for a few years. It's so.
Now, I'm saying, like, most people honestly will leave one of our shows not realising that most of those acts are WA. So that's going to be hopefully the best outcome of this year. The silver lining, we'll call it, is people will leave this experience at least seeing what we have to offer in WA, which is amazing.
You touched a bit on it right at the start, Matt. You were talking about how good it is sort of to be back out there performing with people. How are you feeling about that at the moment, coming up to these events?
Amazing. Like,
I wish you could see the grin on his face right now.
It's a big grin.
Yeah, I mean, like, I obviously, the moment we got locked down, I didn't go quiet, that's for sure. I was one of those people who's like, right, I'm jumping online for everything and anything. I do love kind of mental health programs and bits and pieces where I help people, increase their confidence, or drink less or lose weight and things like that. So I started to do a few of those online, and but apart from that, I started just jumping on and engaging with people, talking about how they could relieve their stress and anxiety during lockdown and all the things that came up with that. And so I just kept doing lots of stuff like that. But there's still nothing that really beats that fact of just stepping out onto a stage and just being in front of people, right in front of you, and hearing them laugh, and just I mean, my humans are my props as well. Remember, without people, I actually don't have a show. So to not only be able to step out into a live arena like that, I actually also have the ability to have humans on stage with me. Although interestingly, I did have to change my show slightly. So we, traditionally, in a hypnosis show, I'd have people sat right next to each other and stuff like that. So we, started spacing the chairs and making other tweaks to make that, I guess, COVID friendly at the time. So.
Yeah, like I was saying, I think, people are just so excited to get out. They're just like really pumped to sort of get
So are
involved
the comedians. They're excited
Yeah.
to perform. Like Matt is saying, the comedians, and last night on the gala, the energy that was coming off the acts that were on stage, you could see that a lot of them hadn't had the opportunity to get in front of an audience for quite a long time. And so it was this kind of intensity, and it was like someone getting I'm not going to say, I was going to say someone getting a hit, but it basically is really like, they're like, finally, I got it again. This is what I do this for. So it's really, this is, it's a special moment to go and watch comedy, and particularly live performance.
I love it. We've been talking about the Side Splitter Festival with comedy hypnotist Matt Hale and festival director Julian Canny. Thank you both very much. And
Jess.
I believe it's on for the next 2 weeks. Is that right?
Well, it was tonight, this weekend, and then next weekend. Yeah.
Fantastic. So head on down to the city of Coburn. Check that one out. Thank you so much for coming in, guys.
Absolute
No worries.
pleasure.
Thank you very much, Jess.
It is 16 minutes to 9. You're listening to Get Up Morning here on RTRFM 92.1.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you do, please subscribe to the channel, and also check out some of the other videos I have up here. And also, if you've got any questions, always feel free to contact me.